if communist Russia and China both switched sides to freer market economies at around the same time? Then, why did this make China rich and not Russia? Well, Russia was in a tough spot because the Soviet Union collapsed and the political chaos made it hard for the government to come up with a cohesive transition plan. So they kind of just transitioned to capitalism overnight. Now, I should be fair in mentioning that part of why they did so was that American economists had advised the Russian president to switch to capitalism as fast as possible, and the Russian president listened. However, this only led to more chaos for everyday people. See, imagine you're growing up in Russia and the government always told you, hey, do as we say and we'll take care of you. Then one day, the government just says, yeah, just kidding, I'm out. Go create a private business or something and learn how to feed yourself. As you could imagine, this caused an absolute crisis, which dropped GDP by 40% and took the lives of 4 million Russians. To make the situation better, the Russian government had this idea that sounded smart at first. See, to succeed in a capitalist system, you need to own assets like businesses, right? Well, the Russian government owned all companies during communism. So to transition over, why not just give every Russian citizen some stocks, where they would own these companies now, instead of the government? This would form a broad spectrum of private owners, so Russia could become more capitalist, but still have things to be equal. The best of both worlds. Well, it really didn't work out like that. See, because the Russian people weren't given time to prepare and learn how to transition to a brand new economic system. Many Russians just had no idea what to do with these vouchers, or how the concept of stocks even worked. Besides, there were food shortages, so many Russians sold their stocks for things as cheap as bread. And who bought these stocks? Well, a few Russians that understood the economical gain and importance of these stocks. They bought a large amount of these stocks. And these are the people who some people call the oligarchs. They now have much larger power and has a large say on the politics because of their financial situation. On the other hand, China didn't have to go through something as chaotic as the collapse of the Soviet Union. So Chinese leaders had the space to plan things and gradually ease their people into participating in a market economy. For example, one major innovation was dual tracking pricing for farmers, because these farmers were used to the old communist system, a system where the government said, hey, produce this much food for us, and as long as you produce enough to meet the minimum quota, we'll take care of you. Well, now the government says, don't worry guys, that system is still here. But from now on, when you produce any extra food beyond your minimum quota, you can still sell it on the free market and keep the profits for yourself. This meant that the farmers had the stability of the old system that they were used to, but they could now also chase the bag for the first time in their lives. Farmers became insanely efficient, gradually learning how to transition themselves into the businessmen they needed to become to thrive in this new market economy. And the agricultural protection skyrocketed. And over in the cities, China took a gradual approach. When you cross the river of transitioning to a freer market, you don't know what will happen. So you test the waters by opening up only a few cities to the market economy at first. Because if it looks like freer market policies didn't work in those cities, then no worries. You didn't throw your whole country under this new system, so you can just back up. However, those cities ended up being a massive success. So China tried out freer markets in a few more cities, until gradually the whole country was operating under the new economic system. So this was a simplified explanation of how China could become richer, while Russia has had it more rough with their economics. If you made it this far, you enjoy learning basic economics to understand the whole world better. So go watch some of my other videos, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out on future videos. This was all for today. Thank you so much for your support for watching the whole video through.